Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack a complex, deeply cinematic story of survival. We're talking about how the universally loved Lego brand narrowly escaped total collapse. It's a wildly dramatic turnaround, a story of a massive company that got totally lost in a maze of its own imagination, and how it brutally fought its way back. If you want to understand how intense focus and sheer operational discipline can resurrect a dying giant, you are in exactly the right place.
Picture this. It's 2004, and the unthinkable is happening. A brand that literally defined childhood for generations is bleeding money at an unprecedented rate. They were standing right on the edge of bankruptcy. Why? Because the company had completely forgotten its true identity. It's a pretty shocking reality check, right? Just being beloved by the public absolutely does not guarantee your survival if the business engine underneath is completely broken.
Section 1. The brink of collapse. When creativity becomes complexity. So, how did they get there? Well, endless imagination actually mutated into a chaotic nightmare for the company. Imagine the absolute madness of what they were doing. Running theme parks, launching clothing lines, pushing incredibly complex digital projects, and churning out completely random toys. And while they were doing all of that, they were entirely neglecting the one thing that mattered most, their classic, simple core brick system. Their problem wasn't a lack of creativity. It was that they had way too much of it without any boundaries. They were functioning like an unguided missile. It turns out innovation without focus is just plain dangerous. We're looking at the ultimate example of brand dilution here. When your identity becomes blurry because you're moving into way too many unrelated areas and creating excessive product variations, you're in trouble. Every crazy new action figure arm or specialized unusual plastic shape required new manufacturing molds, unique plastic colors, and dedicated marketing campaigns. Costs were soaring totally out of control because they were trying to be absolutely everything to everyone, and the business was just suffocating under its own excess. Section 2. A brutal leadership decision. Enter Jørgen Vig Knudstorp. Things obviously had to change, and that required facing some incredibly brutal truths. Fast forward through the early 2000s overexpansion, right to that absolute breaking point in 2004. That's when a new CEO, Jørgen Vig Knudstorp, steps in. And he wasn't brought in to blindly protect every wild idea the creative teams threw at him. He was there to save the company from imminent ruin. He started with ruthless, unapologetic honesty to figure out what was actually working and what was just a massive distraction. The era of disciplined creativity had to begin. Knudstorp came in with a brilliant, perfectly straightforward philosophy. Not less imagination, better managed imagination. I love that. They absolutely didn't need to kill the creative spark that made Lego great in the first place. They just needed to give it strict, uncompromising boundaries. Section 3. Returning to the core. Back to the brick. To actually survive, Lego had to wake up and realize their greatest asset wasn't some flashy new toy trend, it was their foundational system of play. Think about how profound this is for a second. A single Lego brick made today can perfectly snap into another brick manufactured decades earlier. That simple, elegant fact is the emotional and strategic heartbeat of the brand. It allows for infinite possibilities without ever abandoning who they are. By stripping away all that extra noise, they remembered their magic. This return to the core strategy worked wonders because it celebrated endless imagination, fostered real problem-solving skills, and enabled incredibly rich storytelling, all while keeping construction incredibly simple. The massive takeaway for us here is that a company in serious trouble doesn't always need to reinvent itself. Sometimes, the most radical move you can make is just remembering who you actually are. Section 4. Innovation with strict discipline. Creativity with boundaries. Okay, so once they protected that core, they had to totally rethink how they handled new ideas moving forward. Instead of a bunch of executives sitting in an isolated boardroom guessing what the market wanted, they turned outward and asked one shockingly essential question. What do the fans actually want? It seems super obvious in hindsight, right? But for a company trapped in its own internal mess, it was a total revelation. And they struck absolute gold. They discovered this incredibly powerful, untapped community out there. We're talking passionate adult fans building impossibly complex models, huge online groups sharing custom designs, and generations of parents and kids just building together. These fans treated the product as pure creativity made physical. By paying really close attention to them, Lego found a way to innovate authentically, instead of just throwing random ideas at the wall to see what stuck. This totally shifted their partnership strategy too. They started tapping into massive external story worlds, partnering with huge entertainment franchises for superheroes and space battles. But here was the golden execution rule. The play experience always had to remain strictly true to the Lego brick. The results? Well, licensing those big names created massive global excitement. But because they enforced that building rule, the actual brick is what created the feeling of ownership for the fans.
Section 5. The Magic of Operations. The engine behind the brick. Now, we've been talking a lot about the creative side, but honestly, all these epic ideas would have absolutely tanked without the unseen, unglamorous behind-the-scenes magic. Every single new idea now had to survive a brutal, disciplined innovation process. Step 1. Establish a clear purpose and prove genuine customer demand. Step 2. Prove it makes financial sense by passing a strict cost analysis. And Step 3. Absolutely ensure that the idea connects straight back to the core Lego system. The wildest idea isn't always the best one anymore. It has to survive this gauntlet.
The real heavy lifting was all operational. Every unique brick color or weird shape carries a very real, tangible cost. So they fixed the supply chain by strictly controlling overall manufacturing costs, drastically simplifying production lines, and improving their inventory forecasting. Most importantly, they managed product complexity by ruthlessly cutting out all those unnecessary brick variations. They proved a phenomenal business truth here. You don't have to choose between efficiency and creativity. When a company is truly healthy, efficiency and creativity actually fuel each other.
Section 6. Building the Future. 5 lessons from the brink. So this whole dramatic turnaround gives us an absolute masterclass in strategy, boiled down to 5 key lessons. 1. Unfocused innovation is a profound weakness, not a strength. 2. Brand recovery always starts by returning to your core. 3. Creativity literally needs discipline to be profitable in the real world. 4. Let your fans guide authentic innovation. And 5. Operational simplicity is your ultimate armor. Lego didn't save itself by becoming a trendy video game company. It survived by remembering how to be Lego again, one brick at a time. I want to leave you with one final, provocative question to chew on today. Whether you're looking at your own projects, your career, or a whole business, what is your core brick? If you stripped away all the noise, all the complexity, all the shiny new distractions, what is the one essential thing you do better than anyone else? Find it, protect it, and build absolutely everything else around it.